Hey everybody, it's Gomladex, and welcome back to another premiere draft of Streets of New Capenna. This is the flashback draft format for the week. We have Foundations coming out in just like 2 days now, so I'm super excited for that. But in the meantime, one more Capenna draft, one more Cube draft to tide us over. For our pack one, pick one, we have Giada, Font of Hope. She's a fantastic rare. A 2-mana 2/2 Flying Vigilance is already a great rate in Limited, and there are actually a couple angels in the set. Not a ton of them, but there's a common angel in white, there's a common colorless angel, and there are a few good rare angels as well. I think there's even like a blue-white-black common angel. There are some cards we could get that go with this that are just good cards on rate already, so they get a little better with Giada. So pretty happy to just start with her. Very strong mono-colored card, keeps us nice and open. There is competition though. Mage's Attendant is kind of absurd. 3 mana, 3/2 plus a 1/1, and you can sack that 1/1 to counter a spell unless the owner pays an extra 1. So I think there was a pretty strong uncommon there, but Giada is definitely the funnest way to start this draft. So for pick two, we have something that's a little interesting to Capenna, which is where we're in an awkward spot where the best cards in the pack are Strangle and Torch Breath. And what's awkward about that is that all of the two-color pairs in the format are allied colored pairs. So white is going to have blue-white and white-green. There is no white-red. The only way to play white cards and red cards in the same deck is to be red, green, white, which is Cabaretti. So that is potentially a reason not to take a red card here, but I still think these removal spells are just so much better and more efficient than everything else in the pack that we might as well still just go for the Strangle here. And I think Strangle's efficient enough to take over the X mana removal, even though that could kill bigger stuff. 1 mana, 3 damage is just insanely efficient. Being able to like turn 4, like Strangle their 3 toughness creature and play a 3-drop in the same turn, that efficiency pays off quite a bit. Pick 3, big fan of Rafine's Informant, and obviously we would quite like to play white with this Giada. Alternatively, if we want to just really plant our flag early, we could pivot off Giada towards the Riveteer's Charm and go into the Riveteer's colored trio. There's also a Fairy Vandal. This does play kind of absurdly well in the format. I could see this actually being the pick. It's a pretty strong mono-colored spell. The reason it plays well in the format is obviously the connive mechanic is on a bunch of different creatures, and that just means there's a bunch of different creatures in the set that are going to let you draw a card and discard a card right when they enter the battlefield. So every single one of those will put a +1/+1 counter on the Fairy Vandals. So you know what? Let's actually keep dancing around all the colors here. I think I've talked myself into the Fairy Vandal. There are tons of ways to get that growing, and Rafine's Informant is a great, efficient one that also fits into our deck alongside Giada. So we'll grab the Informant here. Nothing else super exciting, so pretty easy pick. Pick 5, another Rafine's Informants. All right. Really good start towards just white for now. We could be in Cabaretti, red, white, and green, getting that Strangle into the deck, or we could go blue-white, and that gives us 2 different directions to go. If we go blue-white, we can go blue-white-green, Brokers, or blue-white-black, Obscura. So let's just grab the Rafine's Informant, certainly the most open pick here. There are some real strong multicolored cards, but that is going to happen in every pack. And if you can find the most open colors, you're going to wheel a lot of the really powerful multicolored cards, because obviously it's really hard to splash in like a 3-color spell. So if we find the right 3 colors, then pack 3, we should get just tons of strong multicolored spells, pretty much guaranteed. And now we have an excellent start to just blue-white tempo flyers, one of the best aggressive decks in the format. As you can see, every creature we have already is only 2 mana, so we start curving out really aggressively. We have multiple evasive threats with Giada and Fairy Vandal, and now this Celestial Regulator works insanely well in the archetype. Not only is it an angel to get a counter from Giada, but it is going to tap something, maybe even stun it when it enters the battlefield. And of course, it's another flying, so another evasive threat. And now the Expendable Lackey works great with our double Rafine's Informant. We can discard these and then exile from the grave to get an unblockable fish. We've got a super sick looking just blue-white tempo deck where we're just going to fly over all of our opponent's blockers and try to kill them before they resolve anything super scary. And if they do, hopefully we'll have cards like Celestial Regulator to stun the big scary stuff and any other blue and white removal that we find later on. This pack is very weak. I guess probably For the Family's a fine combat trick if we somehow ended up Cabaretti here, but this looks like a really open position to be in blue-white, and we have just insane combos right now already. So much synergy in this deck. Our Fairy Vandal has 2 copies of Rafine's Informant to trigger it and a Majestic Metamorphosis. Our Expendable Lackey has 2 copies of Rafine Informants to discard to them. Our Celestial Regulator, in terms of wanting something with a counter on it, has Fairy Vandal, Double Informant, and Giada, all potentially putting counters on the board. This deck is looking just beautiful. Pick number 10 gives us another quite weak pack. Grab a Case the Joint, just in case we don't quite make playables. We can play some filler card draw at the top of our curve. Pick 11, Backstreet Bruiser can be okay in this archetype, because obviously we have tons of stuff right now that are potentially getting +1/+1 counters. All of our Connive cards of the Informants, as well as Giada spitting counters onto the board. Fairy Vandal getting counters on itself. Girder Goons is certainly playable if we end up in Obscura. If we end up blue-white and splash a bit of black. Love the Blitz ability on that card. So pack 2, pick 1. What are the options here? We've got the very flexible Broker's Charm. This could be removal against a creature, if it's a small enough creature. Most of our creatures are pretty small, so this is not going to be super great in our deck. +1/+0, and then shoot something equal to the power. So we can do like 3 or 4 damage consistently right now. But then the flexibility of being able to destroy an enchantment or draw 2 cards is also pretty great. So I do think Broker's Charm is certainly on the table, but I am a big Illuminator Virtuoso fan as well. 2 mana 1/1 double strike. Whenever it becomes the target of a spell you control, it connives, so you can juice this thing up a lot if you have other ways to put counters on the board. It's particularly busted with Majestic Metamorphosis. Jump it into the sky. If you connive and then discard a non-land card, you're even putting a +1/+1 counter on it, so you're just hitting for 10 in the sky off that double strike. So I think the Virtuoso is quite fun. And then Exotic Pets is really good in this style of deck. That's just trying to have a lot of unblockable creatures, and it's got a lot of +1/+1 counters as well. So I think Exotic Pets looks great here, but Mage's Attendant is also fantastic, as is the Celestial Regulator, a really, really good pack for us here. Sad we can't take 2 cards out of it, but I think we'll go for the pets here. Get some fishies. Pick number 3, there's another Celestial Regulator or a Nimble Larcenist here. I've spent 0 picks on lands here, and I'd be perfectly happy to play just a nice, streamlined 2-color deck, which is a super low curve and stuff, so I'm just going to keep taking 2-color cards and take Regulator here. There is also Hold for Ransom. We have basically no removal right now, but Hold for Ransom is not the best removal. It does let the creature still have all of its abilities, it just can't attack or block, and even then, they potentially break the creature out of it if the game goes long enough. So it is good removal, but I think Celestial Regulator is just so good that it's fine to take that over the Hold for Ransom. Here's another Expendable Lackey. We now have Luminaire Virtuoso, Double Rafine's Informant, so 3 ways to discard it. It's also a fine chump blocker early. Again, there's always the option of splashing in an Obscura Charm here. This one I think is actually much better in our deck than the Broker's Charm. Being able to like reanimate a Celestial Regulator could be kind of crazy. And the removal part is a little better here. Actually, Slip Out the Back's also kind of insane in this deck, because we like +1/+1 counters, protecting flyers pretty big. You know what? That's another pack that's just very good for us. Tons of great options. Okay, now I'll take a Hold for Ransom over a run out of town. There's also Obscura Storefront, get our first piece of fixing, but I haven't taken any of those speculative splashes here, so it looks like we probably aren't going to need it. Blue and white look open enough to be, again, just our streamlined 2-color aggro build. Another Rafine's Informant here. Gathering Throng, I do want to mention, this card is absolutely worth playing if you have 3 or more copies. I do think it's going to be a little awkward in this deck, though, because we have some really good 3-mana plays, so we're not really going to do Throng things till like 4 or 5 mana. I'm fine to just keep curving out with better on-rate creatures than trying to get a massive amount of card advantage off the Throng. Okay, pick 7. I'll just hate draft a Civil Servant. If we were brokers, that'd be great. Wow, quadruple Rafine's Informants? No respect. This card's so solid. We've now got a backup agent, which is great in this deck. Putting a +1/+1 counter onto a flyer, or really ideally putting it on a double striker, could be nasty. And that's more cards that put counters on the board to make sure Regulator is triggering. Holding down that Alt key here to see how much I own of everything. This is a very old set, so I think I just have everything. But once we get to the point where we're just like rare drafting, you can always hold down the Alt key on PC to see what you need. I have so many 2-drops. There's no world in which I'm playing another Backstreet Bruiser, so come on in, Obscure Initiate. Pretty filler flyer, but a flyer nonetheless, and that is something our deck is looking for. Pretty much endless copies of. I think the only thing we really need at this point is a little bit more removal. We only have the hold for ransom, obviously. The regulators are kind of temporary removal. Some of the best pulls for us would just be solid uncommon removal spells. I think Sleep with the Fishes would be an A+ spell in this deck. That's going to tap whatever you enchant it on, keep it locked down, keep it tapped, and give you a 1/1 unblockable fish at the same time. And that just does everything this deck wants to do. So if we can find like one copy of Sleep with the Fishes and one more hold for ransom, I think this deck will be just about perfect. Dapper Shieldmate, get one random 4-drop in there just for the curve. No one's doing the Throng thing today, it looks like. Rafine's Guidance is not completely unplayable in a deck that has 4 Rafine's Informant. Obviously, if we connive that away, we can still cast it from our grave. The other thing that's nice about it, of course, is slapping it onto a double striker in particular. So pack 3, pick 1. We did open the mythic common of the format. Inspiring Overseer is better than almost every single rare, let alone the commons and uncommons. This card is just such an absurd rate. It's a 2/1 flyer for 3. You gain a life and draw a card. So it immediately replaces itself, and then it chips away for a bunch of damage as an evasive threat. Even gives you a little breathing room with that life gain. Overseer's insane, and it's really good with Giada. So we're happy to take that. Although Rigo is playable in here. The mana cost isn't as difficult as it looks. We could go double white and a blue for Rigo. Yeah, maybe Rigo's actually better than Overseer there. I kind of just defaulted towards the Overseer, just seeing Rigo being a 3-color gold card, but technically, double white and a blue is a thing we can do in this deck. That would not be that difficult. Pack 3, pick 2, we have a Skybridge Towers or Make Disappear. These both seem fine. We have enough cheap creatures that we can easily get to a point where we've just dumped our hand and then we're holding up like a Make Disappear or something. Although the later you hold up the Make Disappear, the more likely your opponent is to have the extra 2. But then we could like casualty away a backup agent or a lackey or something if it's a particularly scary card. I think it could be fine in here, but I'm just going to get the Skybridge Towers, which is definitely making the cut. Rooftop Nuisance actually very good in this deck. Rafine's Informant's usually pretty high on my pick order, but when we have a full playset already, like, I have so many 2-mana plays, I really don't know if I need another. I mean, we've got that Fairy Vandal. That thing pops off with it. Obviously, the Lackey's good with them. I want to cut like these creatures, but then I still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 creatures. I guess I do want a few more creatures here. And Rooftop Nuisance... Well, no, Rooftop Nuisance also triggers Vandals, so that's really the big argument there. Yeah, I'm just going to go Rooftop Nuisance. I think this is a really, really good way to slow your opponent down, like just long enough to get all your damage in. It's not quite a removal spell, but it's going to work pretty functionally the same in a really quick tempo deck like this. Metropolis Angel looks kind of nutty in here. With 4 Informants, Virtuoso, Giada, backup agent, Fairy Vandal. It's a huge card draw engine, but there's an actual factual removal spell with Hold for Ransom. There's also a 3rd Celestial Regulator, and both of these are angels, which is kind of insane. I'm going to go for the Metropolis Angel here. We're super lucky. We might even be able to play this on turn 3 off of a Giada. That would be gross. All right, another Rooftop Nuisance. Disdainful Stroke also good. Quick Draw Dagger also good, but this deck, I think, a little less good than other aggressive decks. I like this in almost every aggressive deck, and it would be perfectly fine in here. But obviously it's better when your opponent is blocking more often, and part of our goal is to have our opponent not being able to block that often. So that makes it a little weaker, for sure. All right, I'm not going to play Celebrity Fencers. I'm just going to rare draft for Vault Progress. Get my random Vault cards quicker. And we do get a random Make Disappear if we end up wanting to play that. Psionic Snoop. Could buy your Silence. 5 mana is a lot, but I am low on removal. Does that look better than the Snoop here? Yeah, probably. It might just get cut, but the Snoop's almost definitely just going to get cut. We got another Majestic Metamorphosis here, which is pretty cool. I'm definitely going to be running it with the Virtuoso, because that's just kind of a 2-card Splinter Twin Oops I Win combo that could pop up. And it's not a bad card even without a very specific combo for it, because you draw a card off of it when you cast it. So if you ever win a combat with this thing, you're very happy. You just up a card in that exchange. Second Gathering Throne. Revelation of Power is kind of nutty when you have a creature with a counter on it to cast this on. I highly doubt it gets to make the cut here when we have 2 copies of Metamorphosis already. I don't think we have that much room for combat tricks like that, but we'll see. I did not cut any cards during the drafting outside the one of Gathering Throng, so we could talk about it all in the deck building. Figure it out there. Well, still get a quick draw dagger. Once again, we have 4 combat tricks now. We don't want that. Even Slip Out the Back is sort of a combat trick. It's not going to eat your opponent's creature, but it'll save yours from a bad combat. All right, let's build this bad boy. All right, so surprisingly, we only need to cut 6 cards here. That's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. We can certainly cut the Filler Defender at 2 mana. We have so much other stuff going on here, and all of that is very good. I don't think we cut any of these other 2 drops. 3 mana. For mana curve purposes, it would make more sense to cut another 2 than a 3, but I think our 2s are all better than the Obscure Initiate here. Just having to dump mana into this towards it being actually like exciting or worth the mana cost is not great. 3 mana 2/2 flyer is just so much worse than 3 mana 2/3 flyer with a great enter effect or 2/1 flyer with an excellent enter effect. I think Initiate is our next worst creature. And then Shieldmate's also not like the greatest, but just having a couple 4 drops to top off the curve seems fine. I really don't like these high mana value spells in this deck either. We look really low to the ground, really aggressive to the point of even cutting a land here. So we cut these 4 in a land, and then one of our combat tricks here, like a Revelation of Power, a Quick Draw Dagger. Our Fiend's Guidance could get cut as well, but we've got the Quadruple Informant, so I think that's going to be kind of a cute inclusion that could be fun. It also works on Illuminator Virtuoso. Again, I would very rarely play this card, but I think it's cute enough in this deck to toy around with it. So I'll probably go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and a land, and that would be the deck. Because what's the creature count here? With exotic pets, as long as we're at least 15 creatures for a generally aggressive deck, I'm happy. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Exactly 15. I think we'll take that. So what land do we cut? Looks like probably a blue source here. We look way deeper into white, but we'll make sure we've got that. Yeah, 16 white spells, 12 blue. So cut 1 island, and boom, we have a beautiful blue-white Flyers deck here. So without further ado, let's hop into the gameplay and see how it does. All right, here we are for game 1 with a very sad mulligan. This hand would be excellent if it was Plains Island, but unkeepable without the white source. This is keepable. We can just ditch the combat trick here, go 2, 3, 4 curve, and then stun some stuff with Rooftop Nuisance to get our damage in. Looks wonderful. The Informant's even going to make it much more likely that we hit all our land drops on curve because we can ditch a non-land to hit a land. Well, we can ditch an on-land period. Whether or not we hit the land is up to chance. We do really want to discard an on-land to this, because that's going to help Exotic Pets and Metropolis Angel be better. There we go. I think we ditched the next Informant, because honestly we're just trying to curve here. Trying to play this, then this, then this. And then at that point, Nuisance is just going to be better than Informant. Hello, Inspiring Overseer. I imagine that's actually going to be better than Exotic Pets here, although if they do go for the trade, I'll just Exotic Pets. Okay. Because I really want to make sure I have a creature with a +1/+1 counter on the board when I cast Exotic Pets. So if they were going to get rid of that creature, then get that out of the way. But otherwise, I should be casting something that draws a card here, because that'll make it more likely to have the 4th land by turn 4. We're playing against Cabaretti. Cabaretti tends to be very creature heavy. Lots of cards that care about a wide board state, as well as the green-white part of Cabaretti cares about citizens, specifically as a creature type, and they've got an excellent start to that. It is incredibly hard to outrace a 3/3 lifelinker, and that is the stat line they've got here. So they're in a really good spot, but at least we can draw a bunch of cards right now. If they play a card that makes like 2/1/1 citizens, we're going to be in a massive world of hurt. But I need to attack with Informant here to draw the card, and Inspiring Overseer doesn't block 3 toughness creatures well, so we kind of have to just send everybody in. Might try to get to a position where we get to Rooftop Nuisance, sacking a 1/1 fish to stun both of the servants. Because again, otherwise, there's a lot of lifelink to race through here if they just play a couple more citizens. 2 3/3 lifelinkers, essentially. All right, no more citizens, but the Revelers, I believe, is one more. Yeah, a 5/3, and it comes with 1 citizen. So that way they don't have to keep tapping the Civil Servant to the other Civil Servant. Fiend's Guidance. Not exciting here. I don't have the mana to play Pets and crack a Nuisance. They're going to gain 3 here if they cast the Revelers. They'll be back up to 22 essentially, but I hit for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 if I play Guidance. Let's go Guidance and Pets, and then do a Rooftop Nuisance next turn. This feels fine. I honestly don't even know where I'm supposed to put the Guidance. Here? I guess I'm just putting it on a flyer. That's awkward. Yeah, maybe I should have just waited for the Metropolis Angel card draw before doing anything there. Because backup Agent Exotic Pets would be strictly better. We'd get a +1/+1 this turn and a 1/1 body and get our pets. It wouldn't put any more counters on the pets, though. They care about the types of counters, not the number of that counter. So if I have 1 +1/+1 counter on the board, then I get a fish with a counter on it and a fish without. If I have 10 +1/+1 counters on the board, I get a fish with a counter on it and a fish without. It's that if I have something with a +1/+1 counter and something with a shield counter, that's when you get to be really happy. I'm happy they're not gaining life this turn. Oh wait, no, they are. I'm dumb. Yeah, I don't have a way to kill this servant. Game 5 now. Yeah, the Ceremonial Groundbreaker here is huge. Our Rooftop Nuisance is going to be massive, though. I think this Rooftop Nuisance could straight up win us the game. I should wait till post-combat. So I hit for the maximum amount of damage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. If I had 1 more mana, I kill them. Oh, I guess if I back up Agent. Probably should have done the math and seen that this was lethal if I played backup Agent pre-combat, but it's fine. I got really excited about Rooftop Nuisance. And that's okay, because it still very likely wins us the game. What's a draft without a little bit of Miss Lethal? Oh, that is a draw. Yeah, I don't see how they possibly win from here. There's the GG. Start things off 1-0, heading into game 2. Ooh, game 2, we might get to do some Giada stuff. We did manage to get a few angels into this deck. We have all the regulators, we have the Metropolis Angel, and we have the Angelic Overseer as well. So a lot of angels we could draw into. Just start with the Giada here. We've already got our third land, I don't need to connive into it. There's Inspiring Overseer, it's on the wrong side of the table. What are you doing over there, buddy? How could you do this to me? Don't really want to exotic pets without a +1/+1 counter on the board, so I suppose we're on Rafine's Informants. Don't get to hold up Make Disappear here. But if I don't want to exotic pets without a creature, then like if I don't cast Make Disappear, I'm doing nothing with all my mana up if I hold it. Yeah, let's go Informant. Illuminator Virtuoso. Kind of like this Revelation of Power in this hand. That actually could be nutty on the Virtuoso. So we ditch Informant to cast Virtuoso later. I was a little tempted there to just ditch the... what was I tempted to ditch? Oh, the Make Disappear, yeah. Because holding it up is going to be an issue here because we're just jamming so much. My brain got stun locked again. Yeah, I think I'm just going to Informant, ditch Make Disappear Virtuoso if I hit a land. Well, there's all the Informants. I'm too stuck on mana. I'm just ditching this thing. It's just not going to be relevant if we can't hit land 4 or land 5 on curve, and we've now missed both. Obviously went for a bit of a gamble there, where if that Informant finally hit our 4th land, then it would be better than the exotic pets, because we get to go Informant, Informant, or Informant Virtuoso kind of stuff. I guess we didn't have Informant hit, so we get to go Informant Virtuoso off the land draw. Didn't pan out for us, we didn't hit the land. But it was a risk there where it looks way worse because I didn't hit the land. Obviously, exotic pets leads into the Rooftop Nuisance pretty well, sacking the 1/1 fish towards that, but thought it was worth the potential really good expansion of the board. Plus, we really need mana, period. So just drawing cards towards it is going to be helpful in the long run, even if it doesn't look so right now. Sure. Hold an Informant for ransom. Alright, looks like it's just definitely exotic pets time. And I've also connived a ton and just like not found my angels, which is sad. Informant for Informant. Perfectly balanced? No. No Informant for Informant. Okay, at this point we have card advantage. We need to play the defensive role. So we have to go for trades here. I wouldn't be surprised if I have to trade Giada off at this point. like 6 and keep getting chipped by the Overseer. I'm still greeting it though. I'll take the 6, go to 10. Rocks Pummeler. What a nuisance. I guess I just sacked the informant. Yeah. We might have lethal next turn. Believe it or not. Revelation of Power on Virtuoso is just so insane. So the way it works is that we target Virtuoso with this. Virtuoso's ability to connive resolves first, so we discard an on-land card to put a +1/+1 counter on it. It's then a 2/2 double striker. It then gets +2/+2. It's a 4/4 flying lifelink double strike. Revelation Virtuoso is the truth. And it looks lethal here. 8, 9, 10, 11 in the sky. It's 1 damage off. There's got to be a way to hit lethal here. I can Rooftop Nuisance these two with the fish to get everybody else in for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Have the mana up for Virtuoso, so 5 + 8, 13. I mean, let's just make 100% sure the Revelation thing works how I want it to, but I'm quite confident that that's how it orders. Yeah. We connive, we get the counter. Then we +2/+2 flying lifelink because it has a counter. Then we Rooftop Nuisance, sack a fish. No blockers. Hit for 13. Gain 1,000,000. Just in case my math is super bad, and this isn't lethal, we also gain quite a bit. I don't think we gain enough to live through the Pummeler Shield Made Overseer, but yeah, there you go. Oh my god, we did gain enough. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. They would not have cracked back for lethal. Insane, and that is what it's all about with the blue-white tempo decks. Those Rooftop Nuisance wins. Great stuff. We are 2-0 heading into Game 3. All right, here we are on the play for Game 3. We have the Informant Rafine's Guidance combo. Again, ooh. Now I'm super excited. I was gonna say, I really don't know how good that is, because in all of our games so far, we've never run out of stuff to do, so like we never spend the 3 to recast this from Grave, but if we run out of stuff to do, it's gonna be the truth. But Fairy Vandal's already fantastic. With our double Informant here, that goes pretty wild. Oh, that's a little awkward. This is still the best discard. But obviously, like, hitting the white source to just hardcast it here, it's like, well, maybe we just jam it, but no, if we can just turn this into basically draw a card instead of draw discard, that's going to be worth missing out on the extra +1/+1. Man, if I hit an island, this would have been so insane. We have the slip out the back in response to their removal spell this turn. Ooh, it's not even big enough to kill the most important creature anyway. So I can still do my thing. Let's go, Fairy Vandal. Okay, I do want that mana for Metropolis Angel, so with no creatures on their board, we ditch a Rooftop Nuisance. I've got to hold for ransom for their first threat. Metropolis Angel Fairy Vandal also goes wild. The Vandal is just going to trigger itself every turn, because the Angel's letting it draw a card every time it attacks. I think we're actually ditching hold for ransom here, because Fairy Vandal's such an important threat to protect. And if I hit a 5th land, Metropolis Angel, oh my god. Metropolis Angel is another card to protect, to keep the Wombo combo just rolling in. I'll trade Informant into 2 1/1s on the ground, that seems fine. Just get them off the board so they can't casualty with them or anything. Really loving this position thanks to the slip out the back. To be able to sack this for 2, yeah, they can probably casualty it away. Let's slip it out the back. Casualty is the Grixis mechanic in the set, the blue, black, red, Maestros, I guess. Where you can sack a creature to make the spell better. Well, to double the spell is what it is. So their light up a stage, their 2 mana, 2 damage removal spell, they could have sacked a creature with 2 power or more to double it up. Cast it twice. So if they did have, because this is a treasure, and this gives them a treasure, if they had like another light them up, they would have borrowed this, hit me for 5, and then sacked it to the light them up, killed the angel as well. That would have been pretty much game. So any casualty card would have been really bad for me. So I think it's worth the slip out the back, even though obviously if they didn't have a casualty card, like whatever, I'll take 5. It's just too likely they did if they're playing like that. Anyways, we are 3-0 now, undefeated as we head into game 4. All right, game 4. Potentially a little flooded, but Informant can theoretically help with that, although Informant's just going to be discarding Guidance again. I don't know, it's got wonderful mana, I'm going to keep it. We are also only a 16 land deck, so it's slightly harder to draw into too many extra lands from here. But it is still very possible. Turn 2 Civil Servant on the play. I mean, we saw how much work this did game 1, so that is concerning. These draws are also concerning. Land, land, Revelation of Power are the first 3 draws. We were on a 4-lander already. So, definitely high on mana here. The cute thing about ditching Guidance to Informant is it's basically casting the Guidance for free. Because you're getting the +1/+1 counter. Feel like I block here? Maybe I'm not supposed to because I have 2 combat tricks in hand, but if we draw any creature, then these are still going to be great, and I really don't like letting them keep the Civil Servant around. That was probably wrong, because I do really need to draw more spells, and Metamorphosis being able to draw a card is huge towards that. Like, I don't think Revelation was insane there with just an Informant, but if I just waited a turn and then tried to Metamorphosis Informant on blocks, maybe that would have worked. But then if they had instant speed removal in response to the Metamorphosis, we're still kind of out of luck there. Okay. Informant here, definitely ditching an island. Find a Rooftop Nuisance, also not a creature. Not in love. Jewel Thief, green's best common, super sweet card. 3/3 Vigilance Trample plus a treasure. Okay. I've got that Metamorphosis on blocks opportunity with a Revelation of Power up if they have the cheap instant speed removal. If it's damage based, we can try to counter it. So we're going to try to Metamorphosis against the Jewel Thief here, I imagine. Hoping to find some more creatures. Nice, we do get to draw the card. If we get to draw the card and eat the Jewel Thief, that is an insanely good deal. That's where Metamorphosis really pays off. And we did. 3 mana, draw a card, destroy a Jewel Thief. Cabaretti Ascendancy. At the beginning of your upkeep, look at the top card of your library. It's a creature, planeswalker, put into your hand. So you draw an extra card like every other turn. It's pretty bad for me. There's Illuminator Virtuoso, though, with the Revelation of Power. And the Rafine's Guidance. Okay, that's obviously going to be a huge deal. Does this count as casting a spell? Yeah, you do cast it from your graveyard. I imagine there's an argument for just holding up Revelation of Power here to play around like Light 'em Up. That would deal 2 to the Virtuoso. I guess I'm going to make it 3 toughness off of Guidance. if I discard an on-land here. But I could make it 4 toughness with Revelation of Power. Oh, 1 more mana, this would be super safe either way. I think I just do this. I mean, they're playing white. They could just have, like, exile removal. That would just deal with it regardless. They're stuck enough on mana that make disappears legit. Okay, so I'm just making it a 2/2, I guess. So I guess it's in reach of light 'em up, which is not ideal. Ooh, draw Rocks Pummeler off the Ascendancy. So far, so good for them. That is a draw 2 this turn. Strangle. Okay. Strangle means that, yeah, if I had held up a Revelation of Power, I could have saved it. I would have had to Revelation and then also discard a non-land, so probably Rooftop Nuisance. They'll probably make Disappear against a deck that has like 6 threes. Having a Rooftop Nuisance in the end game would be pretty important. No! Oh, man, I would have just won if I held Revelation there. So I thought about it so long. Man, that's a massive bummer. Okay, Voice of the Vermin is still really annoying. It's like 4 damage. Turns them into 4/4 every turn. If I Nuisance it, I could draw another creature here. But I think it's fine to just hold for ransom and hold up a Make Disappear. I can technically hold up a Make Disappear off of Rooftop Nuisancing as well, but if I Nuisance, I want to draw into a creature. And then just cast that. Alright, so hopefully they just go land Revelers, and this is a really easy turn. Pummeler's technically a little bit scarier than Revelers, but I can Nuisance it. Because Revelers just makes attacking impossible. Okay, Backup Agent is a big one. No longer holding up a counter spell. We're just going to Nuisance next turn. So we just go Backup Agent and Guidance then? Jam 4. Just keep this 1/1 on board for Casualty 1. It's kind of wild how much better this game could have gone if I played it out differently. Well, that's on me. You live and you learn. You relearn old formats. Land Pummeler. Do it. If they just go Land Pummeler, I think this is a very winning game. That's super concerning. Ditch the Pummeler, draw 2 means they have more efficient spells that are a much bigger deal. Because the more inefficient their creatures are, the more expensive their creatures are, the better Rooftop Nuisance is. Okay, this is concerning. They can double buff Jetmir's Fixer. That's still just a trade for Informant, which is fine. Also, if I base stats it with Metamorphosis up to 4/4 base stats, we'll still win. So we'd like win that combat and draw a card, which is insane. Sure. Sure. I guess they only have to do it the one time, sadly. Sure, I'll gain a bunch of life. Cool. Sadly, I did have to use both my tricks, but I think that was a little bit in my favor. This Ascendancy is still, like, longer this game goes on, better it is for opponent. Oh, they get to scry every time it's not a creature. They can put it back on top or on bottom. Clean up crew. Oh, just straight up blow up the hold for ransom. That is a very good draw. But now our Rooftop Nuisance is live. So we're going to drop that and hopefully draw just like any creature. Ooh, gross. Alright. Well, now we really need to draw any creature. Celestial Regulator counts. That is a creature. Sleep with the Fishes, or not Sleep with the Fishes, the other fish thing. The fish pets would be very good. Oh, Inspiring Overseer is very good. Double draw off of Ascendancy here. Civil Servant plus draw for turn. Draw for turn is luckily just a land. Oh, there's Fairy Vandal after I've drawn a million. I think I have to hold on Regulator till I have a +1/+1 counter on the board, right? I'm gonna have to chump, clean up Crew, take 6. It's gonna be a close one. Fairy Vandal goes a long way, though. So I have to have Fairy Vandal on board right now and draw the card during my turn to make it my second draw. That way Regulator has the +1/+1 counter. Or sees the +1/+1 counter on our board. Do I have any 1-drops left in the deck? I still have Slip Out the back, so I hold up a blue. Oh, I guess I've got the plains. I definitely hold up a blue then, because I could just play the plains and play a 2-drop too. Like such. This is just mill 1 when I play it. Do I hold off on that? Because it's another count on Fairy Vandal next turn. So awkward. I think I actually hold off on that, which is really hard to say when you're facing this much power on the board. Because it does have a 50-50 shot of trading into Civil Servant. If I play it and draw a non-land, discard that. I can trade into Civil Servant. Oh, Gilded Pigeons is incredibly good in this matchup. Now they actually do have a very firm lead right now. So the flying is a huge deal on blocks. And they can just move that around on blocks. They have so much mana available. Just kind of nullifies our whole game plan. Right. We still very much have a chance here. And that draw is insane. Oh my god, that draw might just be straight up lethal. Not lethal this turn, but like if they don't draw something next turn, then they have 1 blocker up against our whole board. Lots of flyers over here. Do I stun servants that I hit for 5 here? I feel like I do. I just go all out aggro here. Yeah, no, they're at 7. Their lifelinker is tapped. What a draw. Oh, they're hitting live, though. Draw 2 cards this turn. They have Mayhem Patrol off the Ascendancy plus a top deck. They have Eraser's Ring they can crack. There are ways they could get out of this. But we'll see. Riveteer's Requisitioner is not a way to get out of this, as far as I know. 1 flying blocker. They block the 3/4. I guess they take 6, which isn't lethal, but Rafine's Guidance kills them. Yeah, no, this is lethal. If they just play it out like this. We just Rafine's Guidance, one of the 2 power flyers, and then 7 is guaranteed to get in. Yeah, they had to gamble on Racer's Ring. This just puts them dead on board. Yeah, 1 flying blocker. They block the 3/4, but then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep. Exactly done on board. To flyers. GG from opponent. Insanely close one. Just a fantastic top deck from us in the late game saved us from that. That game did not have to be nearly that close. There were a couple lines earlier that worked out pretty poorly for us. I think one of them wasn't like a huge misplay or anything. I mean, it was a misplay in hindsight for sure, but not like a huge one. The one where I think I didn't hold up a revelation for Virtuoso. I just went for the straight up, just get the guidance on it. I think that was like okay, but not ideal. There was a play like right before it that was pretty bad. Don't remember what it was. Oh yeah, the Informant. I just immediately traded Informant into the Civil Servant when I had multiple combat tricks in hand, and we just drew into multiple lands. I think very much like we should have just kept the creature on board, because without the creature, our hand has literally no spells in it. So yeah, when your hand is literally nothing but combat tricks, I think you have to wait until you have the mana up for the combat tricks so you can actually do something with all your mana there. That was pretty loose, but we are still 4-0 because this deck is incredible, and that late game top deck was fantastic. So we are undefeated, and we have more wins than losses no matter what at this point, a positive record. So we'll see how far we can take it heading into round number 5. Here we are for game 5. That looks like an absolute mulligan to me. And that looks like an absolute keep. The duality of man. The duality of mana? The duality of hands? I don't know. Whatever you want to call it. I really want to discard an on-land to this Informant. So hopefully we draw Rafine's Guidance, and then it's really easy to do that. We didn't draw Rafine's Guidance, but maybe top deck? I'll ditch Metamorphosis if nothing else. Oh my god, what a draw. It's not Rafine's Guidance, it's actually better. Expendable Lackey's basically just the better version, where it's just a great card to discard to your Connive, because the 1/1 unblockable fish part of that card is the much more important card than the 1/1 body. Alright, I'm going for Metamorphosis here. I like drawing cards a lot. I don't know if that's right, because I could just Regulator that thing, but I think my idea here is that Regulator is so much better on like bigger, beefier blockers later in the game. I want to have it around for when they have like a really good flying blocker or something. I don't want a Metropolis Angel and then them just trading here, because then I have no cards with counters anymore. So I could just like Revelation of Power Lackey for the turn. But then I'm playing Metropolis Angel off curve. Yeah, this is awkward. I guess I just get my card out of this guaranteed. Because like this is it's a 2 toughness creature on the ground. Like we're not going to be in a position to attack with that multiple turns in a row, even if I do like stun the Newsy or kill the Newsy or something. Like they just play any other 2-power creature and it still stops it. Alright, Giada is a beautiful draw. Doesn't give the Angel any counters, so we're not going to draw any cards with this, right? Yeah, it's when the creatures with counters on them attack, not when something attacks if we have creatures with counters. Alright, a little sad, but fine. I have incredible creatures to follow up with. Giada and Overseer. We're actually getting to do the Angel thing this game. Pretty sick. I think this is the first +1/+1 counter we've gotten out of Giada all draft long. Rogue's Gallery. Ooh, pick up 3 creatures. Pretty good. There's the Newsy. See if that gets lifelink here. That'd be huge for our opponent. It does. That means it is super worth a stun, so let's do so. And then Informant ditching this Plains. Guess I should technically Informant first. Oh my god, Giada gives them a counter for each Angel I control? Or each other Angel I control? That's pretty nasty. I didn't even know that you can get more than 1 counter out of this. Yeah, yikes. Alright. Giada's even better than I thought. I thought she was just like Angel mana plus a +1/+1 counter on each Angel. I was like, that's already good. Turns out she's great. Another Newsy. Got 9 damage in this guy here. And they can gain back 7 on the ground. It's a lot of life gain. Grisly Sigil, sack the agent to kill the Giada here. Sure. I cannot do anything about that. Man, that's rough. They're going to gain 4 here. They have 7 power of lifelink on the board. This is going to be impossible to race. I actually just have to hold the 4-5 back. So I have to just hold the 4-5 back. Then that they just have like a murder or rooftop nuisance. We're in such a spot here. Play our land so we can activate the Skybridge towers here. Normally we do like holding a land for Connive, but non-rogue with lesser mana value. They've milled so much, they have a million options. Okay, luckily that's a rogue. They can get a backup agent. When this dies, when anything else dies, this connives. They draw a card, discard a card, this gets bigger, probably. Ooh, boy. I'm happy to have my 4-5 for now. I don't know how long that's going to last. Four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 if I put a +1/+1 counter on this so I can give it flying with Revelation. Not good enough. Guess I put a counter on Informant here so it trades with Launderer on blocks. But then they get to backup agent and have a 5-5 lifelinker against a 4-5, but then I have Revelation. I have mana to activate Initiate. Yeah, if they're going to just spend the turn activating that, that's actually fine. I think we can actually just not block here and then go for the Revelation kill next turn. Since I did put the counter on Informant, I can buff into the sky attack 13 if they tap out. Because we did the math last turn, it's 13, which is not enough to kill them last turn, but it will be now. Zero mana up. 13? There you go. 5-0, heading into game number 6 now. Huge work from Revelation of Power there, but all of our combat tricks actually give flying there, so all our combat tricks would have worked. So sweet, sweet stuff. Beautiful, beautiful hand here for game number 6. Rafine's Informant ditches the Rafine's Guidance, and then we play the best common in the format with our Inspiring Overseer on turn 3. Now we're even curving into a shield mate. We get to go 2-drop, 3-drop, 4-drop. We are on the draw. So our opponent's going to be playing their 2, 3, and 4 before us. So it won't be like an unstoppable curve out, probably, but it will still be very, very good. Can actually even just double 2-drop on turn 4 now if we want to do that instead. That'll get another counter onto our flyer, which could be big. When they have no other creatures on board, I don't mind Informant for Broker's Veteran as a trade. Because getting rid of its death trigger value seems decent. Ooh, Rooftop Nuisance is very good with Backup Agent. Love to see that. Our opponent is on Maestros. Blue, black, and red, the art critics of Capenna. The artists. Boop. Well, they didn't have the counter for Overseer. I feel like they probably don't for Shieldmate, unless it's specifically Disdainful Stroke. In which case, there would never be playing around it because this is our only 4-drop. I guess we have 2 4-drops in the whole deck. So, if they ever have the Disdainful Stroke, they'd be able to counter one of them. We don't have any weaker spells to try to sneak our scarier ones in with later. God, the Duskmourn basics are really sweet. Strangled our Inspiring Overseer, but that's part of what is so good about the card. A 2/1 flyer, because it's an evasive body, is a big enough threat that often people will have to cast removal on it or trade into it. And if they do that, you're up a card because you already drew a card off of it in the first place. It is so good. Okay, technically I could backup Agent pre-combat for 1 more damage here, but I like playing Informant before Agent because we could hit some of our good 2 or 3 mana creatures that we'd want to play instead of the backup Agent. Put the Shieldmate back on top. That's annoying enough to slip here. Find another Informant. Yeah, I'll just play another Informant over the backup Agent then. Sick. Five, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 damage on board. Dropping a backup Agent here. I'm told 13 damage on board. 13 is not lethal, but it's real good. But I'm just going to Rooftop Nuisance. I'm not going to go for the extra Metamorphosis damage there. Put them to 5. This does not look like a way to survive. I mean, Metamorphosis is already lethal. Wow. Salt in the Wound. Insane draw is insane. No kill like overkill, huh? And there's the concession. That is 6-0. Heading into the final battle with a full undefeated record with this deck. I think this one is an absolute banger. So happy to get at least 6 wins with it, where we are very far in the money. All right, here we are for the final battle. Double Combat Trick Informant. I think I keep it because the mana's great and we can ditch a land here. But we're going to play it much differently than the last time. If they offer a trade early, I'm going to keep this on board if I don't draw another creature. Because we could have another Nightmare scenario here, where I don't hit another creature for a few turns and I'm just sitting there staring at my combat tricks. There is also an uncontrollable Nightmare scenario here where they could just go Strangle. Some other cheap removal. Just go tap out for Informant, they're like, alright, kill it. So, I mean, I guess technically if I wait till turn 3, if it doesn't look like we're going to get any great aggressive curves going. Yeah. I don't feel like they're just going to Strangle an Informant, though. It's going to be a 2-1, because I'm definitely going to ditch a land. There's no way they throw removal at that. And this way I get to hold up, slip out the back, and make disappear on turn 3. I don't think I should hold off on Informant till turn 3 here. Just on the off chance they really want to blow up a 2-1. I don't think anybody would want to spend removal on a 2-1 this early in the game. Cool. We did the thing. Oh. I guess we're staring at each other because I don't think trading a combat trick into killing a lackey is really worth it. But this is awkward because it looks like they're like 5-color here, because green, red, blue is not a 3-color pair in the set. There's red, green, white, and there's white, green, blue, but they're combining those two together, so there are at least 4 colors in their deck, so probably one of the like 5-color decks that's just splashing in all of the really powerful rares and uncommons they manage to wheel. So the longer this game goes on, the more favored our opponent is, because they're going to have much more explosive, high mana value spells than we do. Celebrity Fencer. It's awkward that that's bad enough that I have to make disappear it, because I just don't have any other way to deal with creatures here. Even a block Revelation of Power doesn't kill it. I mean, it does kill it, but I lose my Informant is the problem. I only have 3 toughness after a Revelation. And Slip Out the Back doesn't work at actually killing things during combat, because your creature is going to be phased out. It's not going to deal or receive any combat damage. So I can't, like, use both tricks. Security bypass. Well, this game just got interesting. Their 1/1 expendable lackey is now just gonna unblockably chip away for 1 a turn and let them draw and discard a card every time. That is very interesting. In the grand scheme of things, this is good for me, because it means that they missed their land drop from playing Adjudicators, to where, like, they could have had an unblockable Adjudicators instead, which would obviously be way worse for me. But, like, that's also just a real threat, even on a 1/1, and it's really going to set up their draws. Speaking of real threats, Illuminator Virtuoso with these in hand is fantastic. I don't have the non-creature spells to discard to the Virtuoso right now, which is awkward, but at least I get to use it to get rid of these lands and find spells to actually cast. So I really want them to try to kill it so I can Slip Out the Back. That would be super ideal. Because Slip Out the Back gets a counter on it even if I don't discard a land. That way Revelation of Power will give the flying lifelink no matter what I discard to the connive. Please, removal spell. It's not a removal spell. That's also super bad. Do I have to draw a card, discard a card badly enough to Slip Out the Back here? And I do, like, really need action right now. Oh, this feels rough. Hello, Fairy Vandal. That is some action right there. Oh, and then the Overseer draw. Okay, that means I get to hold on to Revelation instead of using that to trigger Vandal. Yep, I don't want a Revelation right now because I'd rather trigger Vandal multiple turns. Okay, now we've got flying damage. We've got our game plan. Duelist is super hard to kill, though. Our double Rooftop Nuisances are our best bet. Actually, hold for Ransom. Our removal spell actually does deal with it until they spend 7. But double strike 2/1 with a shield counter. I mean, you block with a 2/1, you don't pop the shield counter off. You have to block with a 3 toughness or better creature just to get rid of the shield counter, and then you need to do it again from there. Oh. Yeah, this is the problem with 4/5 color decks. They get all the insane tricolor uncommons. Lagrella is wild. Oblivion Ring on a creature. Now we can't trigger Fairy Vandal next turn. We're only hitting for 4 in the sky each turn. We're definitely losing the race right now. Oh, these 1 toughness creatures. Revelation of Power so bad on the block here. Like, I could kill the Lackey, but I have to spend my Revelation and my 2/1 body. Does not feel worth it. Come on, Celestial Regulators. Those are also very good right now. Backup Agent, not so much. It's pretty mediocre. Let's trigger Vandal. What's the best here? Uh-oh, should I have played land before I did this? So I have Revelation up in response to an instant? Well, they have an instant. Okay, Rooftop Nuisance as the draw means I do play Backup Agent for sure. So next turn, it's going to be Chump. And then Rooftop Nuisance sacking Agent to stun Duelist Lackey. So I'm going to Chump with Informant. I'm gonna have to Rooftop Nuisance and like Revelation of Power. I'm gonna need the life gain next turn, I think, to win the race. But it'll be possible. The Adjudicator's just sitting there lying in wait. I think we could win the race if they didn't have the Adjudicators, but I think the Adjudicators puts them ahead enough in the race to where even, oh my god. Why weren't they just Brokers? They got Duelist, Lagrella, Spars, Adjudicators, and Broker's Charm? My god. I mean, I guess they are just Brokers. They're probably just flashing one red spell. One, like, powerful Cabaret card. Yep. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That Broker's Charm, obviously, was massive here. It got rid of our biggest creature, which would have been our biggest Revelation of Power life gain. Also would have gotten another counter from casting Rooftop Nuisance this turn. Yeah. Had one of our slowest draws of the draft, and our opponent has the strongest deck we've seen so far, just some of the best uncommons in the format. Jamming us here. I'm gonna gain 5. Be at 7. Let them have 5 power. Yeah, we stun Duelist Adjudicators. Sack Informant. But I like having the Chump blocker. Okay, we got a Lackey Chump blocker too. Or I can Informant and Revelation of Power. Yeah, that's better. I do have to Revelation of Power this turn, because if I don't, they can just attack with Lackey. Because if they attack with it by itself, it's unblockable, and I die. Alright, I'm unlikely to win here. Quite unlikely to win. But I could draw 2 Majestic Metamorphosis in a row. And just put everybody in the sky. Alright, so yeah, they just go for the unblockable Lackey. Actually, another Rooftop Nuisance would be big too. Because I could just play Informant, sack it, and then use the Nuisance. That'd be 8 damage though. Yeah, there's a lot of ways I could get really close to lethal, but I think the only way to do it is to just go runner, 2 Metamorphosis in a row. And now I can't do that because I just hit like an Informant and a land. Alright. Closer than it looked, but their deck is very strong. And sadly, our draws were not. Preemptive GG from opponent. I guess I did slam my whole hand out so they know it's game. I'm technically not dead on board. I am very dead to that. Seems good. Double Broker's Charm, too. Alright, here we are for game 8. Illuminator Virtuoso Wombo combo game. Try to just lethal someone off like one attack. This could be a fun one. See how it plays out. There's a Civic Gardener. Let's just roll with the Virtuoso and see how much fun nonsense I can do with it here. Because if I can just Guidance it, discarding another card, that's already a 3/3 double strike, which is absolutely filthy. They've got the prize fight here. That is disappointing. I think that's the only green or blue removal that works here. Okay, they can nuisance it down. That's fine. Means that I will just go, I guess, Overseer. That was a good draw. Strong Arm. Oof. Now the Overseer's not really blocking. 6 damage. That is some speed over there. Yep. Well, this is quite concerning. I can hit them for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 14 with Illuminator Virtuoso alone. I don't think this is the right play, but oh my god, I can't convince myself not to do that because it's cool. Whee! Whee! Oh my god! Oh, if they don't have removal, they're so dead. What are the odds they 13 me? That seems insanely low. Ka-ching. Alright, whatever they're going to do, if it doesn't involve killing the Virtuoso, I think they just lose. Okay, well, they kill the Virtuoso. They still just lose. They have to tap out, and then we kill them with Overseer. They didn't untap a land to parcel the Virtuoso? Alright, well, I just nuisance the Gardener, attack both. Whatever gets in, I can Revelation. And obviously, if Virtuoso gets in, I don't have to Revelation. Okay. Yeah, I think maybe I misremember Parcel, but I think they could have just untapped the land and then parceled Virtuoso while we were tapped out. If they didn't have another trick in hand. And obviously, if they just concede to that, they probably didn't. Yeah. I mean, we'll never know what was in their hand. Maybe they had something that would have been really good if they like went for blocks. I guess they would try to do like a combat trick there or something, but yeah. That's super dead to nuisance or regulator into revelation. Well, that was hilarious. We got to do Illuminator Virtuoso, 14 damage. Pretty nice, pretty spicy. Rafine's Guidance got to really earn its way into the deck there. So 7-1 it is, 1 loss only, and it was just against a bunch of Broken Brokers uncommons. Very, very good color trio. Yeah, this deck's really fun. I think this was my favorite in the archetype. I think blue, white, and green were the strongest colors by a lot, so Brokers was the strongest color trio, so any combination of Brokers stuff was always nasty, as you can see by our deck being insane, and the deck that we lost to being mainly just really good Brokers cards. So, I mean, these are definitely the strongest colors in the format, but there's multiple ways to build them, because obviously blue-white is the really tempo-oriented, evasive threat-oriented kind of Flyers deck like this. That was a lot of fun, playing a lot of Flyers, stunning their late-game creatures to get all the damage in, jumping stuff into the sky for lethal, tempo-y stuff like that. But green-white, as we saw a lot from our opponents as well, has a lot of citizens. It's got the life-gaining civil servants, so it's playing to the ground a lot more. It gets a wide board state, gains a bunch of life. It's hard to outrace those decks in that way. And obviously Brokers decks are like this mixture of the two that's really just like a bunch of really strong uncommons and stuff, but maybe a little bit slower because you're doing all 3 colors. So yeah, even if it is the strongest stuff you can do, there are a lot of ways you can do it. This is my favorite of all the Brokers color pair ways to play things out. Super, super sweet deck, and it was really nice to be able to have the Giada there with multiple other great angels. Super nice way to cap off the Streets of New Capenna flashback drafts this time around. But we'll be doing another cube draft tomorrow, and then, drumroll, MTG Foundations, the newest set, is coming out the day after tomorrow. Very excited about that. I've already been to pre-release, and it has been very fun. Nice core set experience, but a little stronger than the older core sets. There are some really, really strong rares and mythics potentially, but overall, a little bit of a simpler experience, and a nice little change of pace from all of the highly complex draft formats we've had throughout the year. Like Duskmourn recently, of course, with rooms and delirium and so many different mechanics and stuff. So super pumped for that. Super pumped for that. And it's really cool to have all of the original Magic lore and everything. But I find myself rambling again. Let's get to the end of the video. That is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and you're interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.